I'm Keith Richard, Master Casting Instructor with A Hero USA, here today to talk to you a little bit about loop control and the different shapes of loops. We talked earlier in part A of loops about how the rod tip traveling in a dome shape creates a wide open loop. Well, this is what it looks like, and one of the causes of that wide open loop is the fact that the rod tip is traveling in a dome shape. So why is that? Well, it's because I'm using my wrist throughout the cast. Another reason for that would be if I just simply move my arm up and down. That'll cause the loop to be wide open. Occasionally we want to throw a wide open loop, and that would be to throw a lot of slack on the water to get a drag-free drift or to curve around a particular obstacle. So there are times when those are appropriate. But most of the time, or much of the time, we want to throw a loop that is a lot more efficient. And to do that, we need to make a cast where the loop travels in more of a direction toward the target. All the energy is directed toward the target. And to do that, we need to get the rod tip traveling in a lower, flatter trajectory from point A to point B. Instead of having the dome-shaped trajectory, it's a flatter trajectory. So we wrist very little. We don't want to use a lot of wrist in our cast. You'll notice I'm not wristing at all. And the rod tip is traveling in a straighter line. And the distance between the top leg of the loop and the bottom leg of the loop is only a couple of feet, which produces a much more efficient loop shape. Now, there are times when you misapply power. One of the ways to misapply power is to throw your cast in too narrow an arc. And if you have a narrow arc for a given amount of line and you try to keep that line airborne and you're having to put a lot of power into that cast, having that narrow arc is going to cause that rod tip, as it goes from point A to point B, it's going to dip because there's too much power applied, and it's going to dip below that straight line path. So what does it look like when I make a cast like that? If I've got a nice loop going on here, and my arc is from here to here, and I narrow that arc, and I keep the same amount of power into my cast, I'm going to throw a tailing loop. And you should see that in these subsequent casts. So how do I get rid of that loop? I simply widen my arc, or I soften the power in the cast. The best way is to find out what the cause. There are many, many causes for throwing tailing loops, and correct that cause. I'm Keith Richard with A Hero USA, Master Casting Instructor, inviting you to become a friend of A Hero USA. Thank you.